The ANC conference in Mpumalanga has elected Mandla Ndlovu as the chairperson in the province. Speedy Mashilo is his deputy. Muzi Chirwa is the new provincial secretary, while Lindiwe Ntshalintshali returns as deputy in that post. Well, murder-accused Mandla Msibi makes the top 5 as Mpumalanga ANC treasurer. Let's get you a live update on the situation now. Bring in our politics reporter, Mbali Thethani, who's been tracking developments since yesterday. Mbali, how has the election of this top team been received by delegates?
Well, Timbigile, it's been a day of high spirits and a jovial mood here as, of course, we've seen a number of celebrations coming out from the fore here, where we've seen that top 5 officially being elected as the leaders of the ANC in this province. But, of course, to give us a bit more insight and reaction to what we have seen, we are joined by Mr. Chirwa. He is the secretary of the ANC in Mpumalanga. One would say that when you look at the outcomes of this conference, Mr. Chirwa, it is indeed the more dominating faction, the faction that a number of people had projected would win. And, of course, you found yourself on that side.
No, thank you very much, Mbali, and to your listeners. Yes, indeed, we can just say it is a watershed conference, just from the fact that there were a number of delegates who attended, and participation was more democratic. And as a consequence of that, indeed, there were outcomes which were democratic. What we can just say to you and your listeners is that the conference was not characterized by factions, but there were lobby groups which were lobbying for their individual leaders, and at the end of the day, there were leaders who were elected and are now in the term of office of this current PEC.
Now, you have been elected into the position of secretary. It is a very difficult one to navigate. What do you bring to this province that it really needs?
No, I can say to yourself and your listeners that I'm a former regional secretary for 2 consecutive terms in Khersibande region. Though the scope of work has been a little bit lesser than the one of being the provincial secretary, what I'm bringing in is the organizational activism, wherein members of the ANC in their branches, through their programs, are able to engage and ensure that the ANC gains life and the ANC is really united and renewed through the programs that are agreed upon in our Newzroom conference.
Now, Mr. Chirwa, one cannot ignore the fact that there were some members of your party in this province who were aggrieved with this conference going ahead. We know that just the latest is indeed, some were saying that some of the branches which were here were illegal. There's also threats that this specific conference can be nullified by a court of law. How do you plan to handle that?
Thank you very much. I can just say the ANC's processes are very much intense. The processes of the ANC, they require that each and every member of the ANC who is aggrieved must utilize or learn to utilize the internal discipline or processes of the ANC. We normally don't encourage members of the ANC to go out of their way and ignore the internal processes. And the outcome of the court case is a proof to that, that indeed if members of the ANC are not satisfied about 1 or 2 of the matters of the party, they must ensure that they utilize these processes. And what we are saying as this leadership, we are going to be the leadership of the entire members of the ANC and the society in general. So all the challenges that they have raised, they are still welcome to come and raise these challenges in our office, and we are committed to look into those matters, but commit to build the organization together with all the members of the ANC, those who supported us and those who didn't support us, and even those who thought that they were aggrieved, but the court at the end of the day adjudicated on these matters. So we are now having a conference that's set, and that is set constitutionally in terms of the ANC constitution.
When it comes to your treasurer, Mandla Msibi, we know that he couldn't participate in the processes of the conference because of that criminal matter, of course. When it comes to should he be found guilty by a court of law, what processes will then follow in the ANC?
What we can say, we cannot prejudge the issue that affects our comrade Mandla Msibi, who has been elected the provincial treasurer. What we can just appeal to members and members of the organization and members of the society just to bear with us and allow all the legal processes to take place. And once they've been concluded, then relevant pronouncement will be made by the ANC, supported by the ANC, as to what is it that is going to be done. For now, we are satisfied by the manner in which Comrade Mandla has been responding by respecting the ANC and stepped aside and allowed himself not to participate in the processes, and then giving us an opportunity to deal with this matter legally and ensure that it is properly dealt with.
Now, members of this province will then be breaking off and will conduct that voting process of voting in those additional members. What kind of a PEC does Mpumalanga need at this time?
We need in Mpumalanga a very strong and a vibrant provincial executive committee which is having a foresight in dealing with the issues that affect our people. Our people really are affected by the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment and inequality. You can also remember that at this point in time, we're battling the unemployment of many young people. And at the same time, we're also battling the issues of the provisioning of basic services to our communities, your roads, water, and all these other matters. So you need a provincial executive committee that is thinking far ahead and ensuring that it pulls everyone together, government and all stakeholders, private sector, and ensure that we lay a clear program that we're all going to be good with that program and ensure that it is implemented successfully. At the same time, we respond to the plight of our people.
Leading up to this conference, we saw a number of factions. We saw at least, I could say, 4 factions going into this conference. And you'd remember back in 2017 that it was this conference or this province that played a very important role in, the ascension of President Cyril Ramaphosa to the president of the ANC. It then said, we are voting on the ticket of unity. Can this province recover its unity after this conference?
What we can say, the province has never lost its unity. Remember, we are one organization called ANC in our country. And we must also recall that Nelson Mandela once said, unity is a bedrock upon which the ANC is founded. So unity is just like breathing in and out. But remember, unity is not just but a word that we just talked about. Unity is informed by programs and activities of the ANC, wherein different members with different views come together and ensure that we all participate in that program. Yes, coming to the conference, it is allowed by the ANC policies that members of the ANC, if they have different preferences, they can align themselves and form lobby groups, not factions, because factions and lobby groups are 2 different issues. After this PEC has been elected, once we have concluded the additional members, the president is going to speak to all of us tomorrow. Conference closed, we all unite. We all support the elected leadership of the Provincial Executive Committee. All the factions, or all the lobby groups that we normally call factions, they disband. We all become one united ANC. We look forward. We have many programs that are before us. We have your national conference. We have the NGC. We are starting to prepare now for the 2024 national general elections. There's a lot. So we're calling upon all members of the ANC, supporters and voters, volunteers to come together and support this Provincial Executive Committee led by Comrade Mandla Ndlovu.
All right, thank you very much. That is, of course, Muzi Chirwa. He is the newly elected secretary here in Mpumalanga. We know that it was on this faction, the faction that many have labeled as, of course, the CR faction. And it plays a very crucial point here, Tembegile. It is indeed, one would say, that they are cementing and paving the way forward for that ultimate conference, which we will see in December.
Newzroom Afrika's Mbali Thethani from Mpumalanga tonight. Mbali, let's leave it from there for now. Thank you very much.